Oh, this is Jimmy Mitchell. We're back to another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored podcast. Let's get right into it here. First, we have no movement for human freedom has ever demanded censorship. Equal rights for religious, racial, and sexual minorities were run with more free speech, not less. Those who demand censorship in the name of reducing harm are the persecutors, not protectors of the vulnerable. And that was from Michael Schellenberger on Twitter, and I posted that. And I would say I very much agree with that. We need to say support free speech, and it's clear that a lot of people in the Persistence of 41 increasing censorship is important not to justify that. That's the thing is we need to hold people who seek to suppress speech accountable for their actions, and we need to support free speech so people can say whatever they want, even if it's speech that we disagree with. Because if they can stop speech that they disagree with, they can stop all speech. That's what I would say. Because they can disagree with any speech. I would say, and that's important to remember. Then the next thing is I do think we shouldn't be forcing our morality on other people. It's why I don't think cannibalism should be illegal if all participants agree and are consenting. See the Armuas case. I tweeted that. That's why I posted it as well. And I think and the second half of the tweet would be with that being said, you do have to draw a line at some point. You can't have people going around committing non-consensual murders or having sex with children because they think they can consent to it. So that's what I think. I think as long as something's consensual, I think it's okay. But maybe not involving children. But mostly I think if people are all over 18, then they consent, something that should be legal. But I don't think it should. I think it might still be stigmatized, like public nudity or cannibalism or stuff like that. That's my thoughts there. ACLU Institute for Justice joined debate over NC Supreme Court's Ace Speedway case from CarolinaJournal.org by Ninja Lover, and that's looks interesting. Trains with both the ACLU and Institute for Justice have filed supporting its legal fight. I don't really know what that's about. I guess for the Ace Speedway. I'm trying to find what this is about. Let's see. Well, they tried to shut down for COVID, and then they're suing over that. I think they should be able to. Yeah, I definitely would support a speedway there over any of the government agencies. Florida couple kept 5-year-old in cage. Heterosexual man forced another child to drink boiling water. Deputies say no trans or drug queens involved by Chi-Town. That's what I from WGTNTV.com. Of course, never agenda post by there saying that it's all the bad people are right wing, but you got some bad left wing people as well. The guy posted next is a reminder that J.M. Keynes was a pedophile from Faux Bushship on Twitter. I posted that, and that's the thing is, Chi-Town won't care if J.M. Keynes is a pedophile, but he cares if when the right wing people are pedophiles. So that's important to remember. So yeah, I definitely think Keynes fucks people, has done more damage to our society than anyone else, with just praying them with just fine, praying the money and all that, and that's what we're seeing today, how our society is just printing money, and it's not good. Our government, yeah. Governor Sanders deploys Arkansas National Guard to Texas-Mexico border from WFAA.com by your and I think that's to authoritarian. I think the National Guard should only be used for interstate conflicts, not out-of-state conflicts. But I definitely think that I definitely disagree with that. That's why I think we need more defend the guard legislation. Scholar activist Cornel West says he will run for president in 2024 as third-party candidate from CDFW.com by Haramf. I think he's running into the People's Party, not Jimmy Dore's party. So I might be interested there, but I personally will probably vote for the LP, but we'll see who the LP nominates. And then I guess the verdict will be whatever shirt sells more, and that's a photo I took on my trip to that trip, and it's a shirt of Trump not guilty on it, a shirt of Trump guilty on it. I said, I personally would lean towards guilty, though I would for all the presidents since at least Reagan on that shirt as well. This is the most reluctant way they could write. There are many Nazis in the Ukrainian military, a fact that which we routinely call Putin shows for stating. That's from Cohen replying to the NY Times new article, and I think that's true. It's the thing is that there are Nazis in the Ukrainian military, and the U.S. is seeking to arm them. I think that's important. I mean, they might have good. Their justification for being Nazis is probably how they the Nazis invaded and helped them get against the Soviet Union. But the thing is, they're still using Nazi symbols, and then if the U.S. is arming Nazi people using Nazi symbols at home, people will be going crazy about that. So I think they should probably be going crazy about that as well. For here, and that's important. LA Pride event, which was open to all age groups, featured adult men dressed in BDSM gear acting out sexual scenes from Libs of TikTok, and that's a tweet from Libs of TikTok. I posted that, and yeah, I definitely think I personally think this. If you want to do something like BDSM politics, you should be able to, but I definitely don't think it's appropriate for 4-year-olds. That's enough to make you far right on Reddit these days. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, I definitely think they are with the WAP article from 2 years ago about how they're trying to push kids can get pride for kids, and um, then this, and the thing is, that's I just think it seems like we're going to a point where pride is just going to be gay couples openly having sex in public. And I don't think that should be legal. I think it should probably be stigmatized. So that's my thoughts there. Because there can only be suppressed so much before you can just do all the stuff that a lot of people see as degenerate, and it's how people are allowed to express that they might see it as degenerate. It's like the old Onion article. I forget the name of it. Gay pride, yeah, uh, yeah, from 2001. Gay pride parades. That's mainstream acceptance of gays back 50 years ago. The Onion is satire, but I think that's important. These the all of you can do all the degenerate stuff you want, but it's important to remember you can force other people to accept you for that. What are your thoughts on the API blackout next week? And I posted that. Reddit, the law authorities are going dark next week from June 12th to 14th because they don't like the change it's making. I think we should probably keep the subreddit up. I said I don't think subreddit blackouts can work through the Amy Chandler situation, though I'd be extremely unsurprised if Reddit hired her under the table and the code misinformation blackout, for example. But I don't think our subreddit is justified, and I'm keen on keeping it uncensored. Plus, I want to see Reddit go through with the changes and continue to dig its own grave like the old social news aggregators like did before it. So that's my thoughts there. I'll probably keep it up. Yeah. We have Showtime polls show about Ron DeSantis' controversial Guantanamo history from Forbes.com by Ninja Lover. And I think I think we talked about this in the last episode, but I think that Showtime should be able to air whatever it wants. And I think they do have to be worried about the backlash that airing something goes with. So, but I would air it anyway personally. But that's just my thoughts. More than 70% of U.S. household COVID spread started with a child. Once U.S. schools reopened in fall 2020, children contributed more to interfered with in-household transmission when they were in school, unless during summer and winter breaks. The pattern system for 2 consecutive school years and that's a study from the University of Minnesota by Motherfucking Inc. So I personally, I do think children did spread a lot of the COVID, but I do think it's important. We shouldn't justify shutting down for as long as we did. So I think that's where we do have to get kids educated because in-person education is definitely better than Zoom education based on what we've seen so far. So I definitely think people are going to get sick and we will have to live with that at some point. So that's sadly the issue we have to deal with. There are no permanent solutions, only trade-offs. Oklahoma approves first U.S. taxpayer-funded religious charter school from BBC, and that's by Flimsy L5563. And I definitely think that's kind of going too far. But if the taxpayers want to fund it, I think it should be they should be able to do so. So that's my thoughts there. I personally wouldn't justify it though. The alt-right economy is failing. Here's the real performance of anti-woke entrepreneurs. Authoritarian capitalist-funded propagandists from Fortune.com by Chi-Town20. And yeah, I definitely think that if people want to support what they call the art economy, which is like I think boycotting all the different things they deem woke, to be able to. But I think we should be able to support whoever you want. I personally think it's glad that people are resisting against more mainstream businesses such as Apple and Microsoft, and I think that's good that people are standing up against big business, even though they might be doing it for a reason that a lot of people on the left disagree with. Wealthy countries owe poorer nations $192 trillion for CO2 emissions, studies suggest. Forbes.com from Room My Circle Jerk, and that is well, I think that's I don't know if the wealthy countries, I definitely think if you want to justify that, they give them the money, but I think we give a lot of them. They don't enough already, but CO2 emissions are something that's going to happen, and I think if the wealthy countries want to give the poor countries money for that, I think I don't think they should be forced to do so. This trans man was just trying to pee. He was assaulted and arrested from them.us and blah blah blah. And yeah, I think you shouldn't be assaulted in the restroom, but as long as you're not bothering anyone. But we'll see if they were doing anything wrong or yeah, I don't think they were doing anything wrong. But sometimes people are going to be mean and insult people, and that's just how life is. I'm shocked. That's 8 News. Republican state attorney in Florida called who's not to pursue case against 6 convicted 600 vote majority Cuba County 2020 election. Excerpt from Family Guy and everyone thumbs up. Yeah, that's the thing. They don't pursue their own. So, but it's all really just a grift. It's all really uniparty. Everything's just to spin to push the narrative. I would say, and this is just one of those posts. Republican prosecutor declined to pursue cases similar to those brought by DeSantis' election pleas against non-white, likely Democratic voters from OrlandoSentinel.com. That's Chi-Town 20, and yeah, it's another narrative post. Yeah. Florida Republicans admit they made a big mistake of anti-immigrant law. Republicans are trying to convince immigrants that the law was just to scare people, nothing more from NewRepublic.com by Kaya blah blah. And the Republicans just linked a number of salon, so I'm just gonna skip that one as well. A SWAT team raided and arrested 3 organizers of the Atlanta Solidarity Fund, which has been raising money to bail out protesters opposed to the construction of a massive police training facility in Cop City. It's never blah blah blah. The thing is, I personally would be against stuff like Cop City, but that the state will justify arresting whoever it wants to for whatever reason it wants to, and I think that's important to remember as well. Nearly half of voters consider backing third-party candidates in a 2024 poll from thehill.com, and I said, what did I say? Feels like you see this headline every election cycle. When you think about the post-election cycles are pretty much the movie Groundhog Day. They're the same shit over and over again, and I think that's important. It doesn't really matter who the Libertarian Party would nominate, even if the Dems and Republicans nominate the 2 most insufferable people they can find, like in 2016. The Libertarian Party will still lose, so it doesn't really matter. I would say, it's just they'll say it, but they'll end up voting for one of the 2 parties, and we'll be here forever, I guess, in this cycle of just the best third party could probably hope for is just sending elections out to representatives like George Wallace tried to do in '68. So he was the last one to third party candidate to actually carry any states. So sadly, that's where we're probably stuck with the duopoly for the foreseeable future until we get rid of the government. I say. Socialism ruins the environment from John Stossel on YouTube, and I posted that. Yeah, I definitely think socialism and its inherently collectivist ideologies, what is good for the environment, is definitely going to be bad in the long term. And I think that's important to remember. I don't think that we should let everyone use the environment however they see fit, and it might be what might be good for the environment, what might be bad for the environment depends on what we don't really know as humans. We just are just kind of here, and we're just trying to do what we think is right. But sometimes it doesn't end up being right. Like the sparrow example in China that Stossel gives. I'd say killing sparrows would help crop rate, but then all the bugs came out and they started eating all the crops and it got worse. So I think that's important to note as well. It's encouraging legal immigration protected by the First Amendment from Reason.com by Humph. I said, I would say so. I don't think any word should be illegal. Merck sues federal government over plan to negotiate Medicare drug prices. It's tantamount to extortion. The drug maker is seeking to halt the program, which was laid out by the Inflation Reduction Act and is expected to save taxpayers billions of dollars in the coming years. By Hiram from NBCDFW.com. And I personally, if someone's suing the federal government, if the private company's using the federal government, I would probably use it for the private company. I don't really like private companies, but I definitely think they have the right to set their own prices, even if I disagree with what those prices are. Black mother shot, killed in Ocala, Florida, in front of 9-year-old son by neighbor hurling racial slurs from WCJB.com by Kage, blah, blah, blah. And that's never narrative post, I would say. But, yeah, people can be cruel, and that's life for you. Missouri courts expunge over 40,000 cannabis-related convictions ahead of legal deadline, but some counties remain non-compliant. From normal.org by yourself, sir. I think that's good. It's hopefully those counties can be compliant eventually, and if not, just nullify it, I would say. Justin, CIA had intelligence of detailed Ukrainian plan to attack Nord Stream pipeline. 3 months before it happened from WAPO. That was from a tweet from Close to V, and I posted that. And I said, CIA probably did most of it, in my opinion. And yeah, but you can't really criticize the CIA on Reddit because they're just this is kind of a neo concept Reddit, but that's with both identity politics as well. So that's my thoughts there. So that's just life used. But yeah, I think CIA probably did it. The ironclad ruled this war is that the West, Ukraine, and Russia are lying about what's going on from Sagar and Jetty, and it's a tweet from him, and I posted that. Agreed. It's important to note that controlling the narrative is one of the most underlooked aspects of war, and I think that's what people should really note when it comes to war. They always, every side wants to control the narrative how it sees fit. Hypocritical Joe Biden from LP Arizona, and that's a tweet of Joe Biden saying, it's a me. He says, you can't legislate by executive orders unless you're a dictator. Joe Biden, October 15, 2020. Now he's pretty much doing legislating by executive orders. And I said, that's duopoly politicians for you. They're almost always hypocritical jerks, except for maybe like Ron Paul and his son, I guess. They're some of the better ones, but even then, they're not perfect. That's why you probably third parties, I'd say. Blue Lives Matter, the cross and the state must bear. Anarchist, anti-state, anti-police meme from the image from Hold Off Hunger, and yeah, it's just yeah, I guess that's the thing is the state has to support the police because the police are the foot soldiers for the state, and I think that's important to remember. So yeah, I agree with that. I guess yeah. Alberta's top court reduces man's prison term after considering indigenous ancestry. Cross quotes from the stupid Paul Stubborn, and I posted that. I said, "That's modern day race essentialism. The Nazis would be proud." This is like if you're transgender or minority, you can probably get years off your sentence. That's how our race and gender essentialism we see today, increasingly, and when it comes to the woke stuff and identity politics, I would say. The debunkers destroy Vox for proposing tax increases featuring Tim Pool from Freedom Tunes. I posted that. I said, it's. I'm personally not too big on capitalism compared to a lot of our libertarians, but I think, if people want to keep their wealth and not give it to the government, they should be able to, especially if that wealth is not tangible, like a lot of wealth is when it comes to like the rich, and their wealth isn't tangible because it's invested in like stocks or other options. I would say, like it's like the example Tim Pool uses in the video. If the state asks for one of your chicken for every 5 eggs you have, you might not be able to give it to them if all the eggs turn out bad because don't count your chickens before they hatch. Director of Children's Ministry and foster parent told kids there were demons in his house but not in his room, so they would sleep with him. From police from longcrime.com. And that's from Chicago, blah, blah, blah. So, it's just another kind of narrative post. I would say it's from the Oklahoma subreddit. Then we have, let's see, we're almost there. Federal judge blocks DeSantis ban gender affirming care for Florida trans youth. Gender identity is real from independent.co.uk. I personally would disagree with that, but I guess if you want to justify doing whatever you want to your kids, I just think don't justify letting them have sex. I think this is kind of like on the kids justify consent to sex level, but if you want to justify that and you have the force to maintain, I guess you should be able to do so. That's my thoughts. If you have the force to maintain something, you should be able to use it as long as you. But I do think you should be held accountable for this, in my opinion. Woman-only naked spa lacks constitutional right to exclude transgender patrons of penises from Reason.com. I said I think they should be able to exclude whoever they want since I believe in freedom of association. That's why I'm personally against the Civil Rights Act because, it goes in freedom of association in my eyes. So we're going to wrap it up there, I think, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.